You don't have to have a lot of money saved to buy a house. And I decided to keep my bonnet on while I tell you guys this so you don't get misconstrued to think I'm some like super wealthy woman and this is why I was able to buy my 4 bedroom house with 2 bathrooms and I live on like a quarter acre land. A lot of people are afraid to even try to buy a house because they think they need 15, $20,000 to put down. When in reality, I came to my closing table with $0. I don't mean I didn't have any money. I mean that I didn't have to put any money down to buy my house. I'm gonna make this quick for people who have a short attention span. Your lawyer fees could be rolled into your closing costs. Have the person that you're buying the house from pay your closing costs. Put that in your offer. Prior to that, take classes like home buying classes. They will give you money towards your closing costs. Also, specific banks, if you choose to get the loan through them, they will give you money towards your closing costs. So I took a 2 or 3 day first time home buyers class. They gave me, I believe, $4,500 towards my closing costs. And I asked the seller to pay the remaining balance. Only thing I had to come out of pocket for is I had to pay for my inspection and I had to pay for the appraisal. So total, I paid maybe $1,200. Keep in mind also the fees for your real estate agent also comes out of the closing cost. It's just so many people are afraid to buy a house because they don't have it like that. And I'll also let you know that when I bought the house, I was an entrepreneur who was barely making anything and I still got a house. My credit score was decent. I do have a conventional loan. If you can get a FHA, I believe that's what it's called, because if some point in time you have financial struggles, they're best about putting the balance that you're behind on the back end, where conventional loans, they don't give a damn. But I had to share this with the price of apartments nowadays, like just to rent them, it's crazy. And it's purely a fear factor that keeps people from buying a house. Everybody that I've given this information to went and bought a house. And yes, you could buy a house with a low 600 credit score. There is guaranteed rate for one. They're one of those companies that will help you buy a house with a lower credit score. However, you want to get your credit score as high up as you can so that you get the best interest rates. That's all. I got to go get cute and get dressed. Bye. So I'm just sitting here on my living room floor looking around at my home, and I was thanking God because me and my husband, we just closed on our house about a month and a half ago. So we're going into our second month of being in our first and only home. I don't want to move anymore. I don't want to buy any more houses. That process by itself will have you ready to pull your hair out. But I came on here to encourage somebody because right now I feel like we're living in a time where people are paying more attention to these TikTok influencers who claim to know so much about finances and everything else. And we're too busy looking at the news and looking at what's going on around us. And there's a lot of people saying it's not a good time to buy. Nobody should be buying a house. Da 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 da. But I'm here to tell you right now, in a world of you can't or you shouldn't, I'm here to tell you that you can. And let me tell you, if there is something that you want to do, I don't care if it's buying a house, buying a car, starting a business, I don't care. Do not listen to people. Better yet, don't even tell nobody that is what you're about to do or that's what you want to do. Just do it. Me and my husband, we got our house built and we kept it a secret for a whole year. Nobody knew that we had got a house built. Nobody knew that we were moving until we were already moved in. And it wasn't to slight anybody or anything like that, but we just felt like this was something that we felt so heavily that this was something that we wanted to do, something we wanted to accomplish, that we just did not want to take any chances from hearing any kind of doubt from anybody. None whatsoever. So, and I will say it was really helpful because it was only me and him knew. So even when it felt like something was possibly going to go wrong or not going to work out,
We couldn't even focus on that because I kept him encouraged. He kept me encouraged throughout the whole process. And let me tell y'all, that process was not only long, but it was hard. And I'm not going to lie to you. It the process is crazy with everything that they want these days, but it's worth it in the end because it's yours. Like owning a home has always been like a dream of mine. I moved around a lot as a kid, and I always said like one day, like I just want to live in one house. I just want to live in one house for my whole life. And now, and so I told God, like, God, that's what I want to do. I just want to buy one house, and He made a way. So don't listen to them people, man. It's people on TikTok talking about, hi, my name is such and such, and I'm a financial guru, and I know all about real estate, and I'm here to tell you. Don't listen to them people. Do not listen to them people. Also, when I say that it's a hard process, don't think I mean like not getting approved and all that. No, that's not what I'm saying. When I say it's a hard process, I mean like when with them just requesting like the amount of paperwork, because I'm guessing I chalked it up as there was so many years of people committing fraud to buy houses and stuff like that, that now they have to quadruple check everything, make sure everything's legit. So I think that's what it was. But yeah, other than that, that's what I mean by the process is hard. Just do it. Thank you and have a great day.
If you're buying a house in 2025 or 2026, I want you to watch this video. I'm a licensed mortgage loan officer. And in the last 2 to 3 years, I've seen people make some of the worst decisions possible with buying a house. Now they stuck in a house that they can't afford or stuck in a house that they can't sell because there's not enough equity, because they overpaid, they follow outdated advice, and they weren't playing the game thinking like an investor. That is not going to be you, because you're going to listen to every single thing I tell you in this video. Number one, do not buy a house unless the seller pays your closing costs. And I know that's a bold statement. It may be controversial, but it is what it is. The reality is almost 80 to 90% of the transactions that I have been a part of in the last 2.5 to 3 years, the seller has paid the closing costs. The reason why is because houses are sitting on the market for longer. Interest rates are elevated. Home prices are elevated. So it's taking longer to move a house off the market. And because that's the case, you as a buyer, you have what's called negotiating power. This is one of the easiest ways to protect your cash on hand and lower your mortgage payment. So when you buy a house, your real estate agent needs to negotiate what's called a seller credit. That seller credit can cover closing costs, buying down your interest rate, a home warranty, and prepaid items like insurance and property taxes. Negotiating the seller credits is what's going to save you thousands of dollars at the closing table. Number two, permanently buy down your interest rate. I'm going to say something. I know I'm going to get in trouble, but it is what it is. The 2-1 buy down that folks were doing in 2022, 23, and last year, it was the biggest scam in the mortgage and real estate industry recently. The date, the rate, marry the house. It was the dumbest thing ever. And I heard all the real estate agents telling people to do that. The builders were telling people to do that. The loan officers were telling people to do that. And it gave people fake comfort with an artificially lower mortgage payment for the first 2 years. And then boom, payment shock. And now these same people are struggling to make their mortgage payment because we in the real estate industry told these people that mortgage rates was going to go down in 2 to 3 years, but that did not happen. So how did that work out? It didn't work out. So you don't want to do a 2-1 buy down or a temporary interest rate buy down. You want to do a permanent buy down. That means your mortgage payment is not going to be fluctuating, right? So you don't want to do that. Number three, don't put more than 3 to 5% down on a mortgage. Anybody still listening to Dave Ramsey in 2025, please find something else to do with your time. You can't listen to outdated advice and expect to win in this market. Even if you got 20% saved up, don't use that money to put on a house. Do 3 to 5% as long as you can afford that mortgage payment. Put 3 to 5% down. In a lot of cases, I made a video about this before. A lot of cases, you can still get a lower interest rate, even putting 3 to 5% down versus 20%. So the reality is, put 3 to 5% down. Don't use all your money and stay liquid. Staying liquid is what's going to allow you to have an emergency fund. And if you're investment minded, you know that you could take that lump sum of cash instead of putting it on the mortgage, and you could put it in an investment vehicle and make more money instead of putting it all into the house. Number four, and this is probably one of the most important things, you got to work with a real estate agent and a licensed loan officer that you trust. This is not the time to roll the dice on rookies, people that you don't buy no house with nobody just because you friends with them, who dabbling in real estate part time, kind of in it, kind of not. You need a team who educates you, not just sells you something. Understands how financing work, understands how to negotiate the seller credits, and to make sure that contract is put together that benefits you to ultimately make you the winner in the deal, right? Your team is going to make or break your home buying experience. And so that is the fourth and most important thing. Listen, if you think about buying a house, 2025, 2026, drop a note in the comments, send me a message, book a call using that link in my bio, and we'll talk soon.
Buy a house next year if you want to be broke. In 2025, there's no way I would buy a house unless I got two things. If I could check these two things off, then I would consider buying a house. First, I would get the seller to either pay for all my closing costs or to pay for a permanent rate buy down. If you take a look at what these past couple years have been, and everyone's talking about doing temporary buy downs and we're going to wait for rates to come down. Yeah, how did that work out? If you want to get into the upper fours, fives permanently, where it becomes tolerable for you to buy a house and to afford a house, get the seller to pay for it. We're in a market right now where sellers don't really have as much leverage as they used to. They're probably more willing to do that for their buyer. And second, it has to have a garage. Houses with garages are average $50,000 more valuable. They get a $50,000 increase average market value. It's harder to find them, yes, but it's definitely worth it. If you disagree or you have other comments you want to put down, other things that you would like to look at when buying a house, put it in the comments.
I was buying a home in 2025, I would not be moving out here like I'm blind. I would not be walking in and saying, oh, this kitchen is so cute. Oh, this looks really nice. Fuck that. I'm buying strategy. I'm buying return on investment. I'm not buying cute. I'm buying freedom and I'm buying leverage. Because buying a home is just not about where you sleep. It's about how you move. It's about what doors is open for you in the future. So let me break this down in full. First thing I look at is my budget, but not just based on what I want to pay. It needs to be something I can actually afford, especially with the current interest rates. Because I don't care how much I love a house, if that monthly payment got me nervous every first of the month, and I didn't just buy a home, I bought stress. So I'd run the numbers like this. What's the current interest rate? 7%? Okay, cool. How much is the home? $400K? Okay, cool. What does that break down monthly with insurance, taxes, and HOA fees, if any? Does that fit into my lifestyle with ease, or do I have to pick between living and surviving? Because home ownership is not supposed to feel like a prison. It's supposed to feel like peace. Next, let's talk about future value. I'm going to be looking at the area, not just how it looks today, but what's coming to it. What's going to be built in the next 2 years that'll help my property value go up? Are developers breaking ground nearby? Is a Starbucks being built around the corner? Are the schools improving? Is the crime rate dropping? These are indicators. They're not decorations. Because you could buy a house in a quiet little spot, but if you play it right, 2 years, that same quiet zip code can turn into a cash cow. But if you ain't got nobody teaching you how to spot that, you'll just miss it. Over and over and over again. I'd also make sure the home has options. I'm talking 3 beds minimum, resale and rental flexibility, 2 baths minimum for convenience and future value, flex room or bonus space, jackpot. That's an office, a guest room, short-term rental, gym, creative space, even passive income if you smart. Now let's be real for a second. Everybody wants turnkey and move-in ready homes. But the real play is the homes that have a vision. I'm not talking about a gut job, but maybe some paint, updated flooring. No, just a few cosmetic updates. Because if you can buy low, fix light, and watch that value rise, you just made $40 to $100K in equity without lifting a hammer. Here's where people fumble. They wait too long. You keep waiting on a magical interest rate drop. Meanwhile, prices are still climbing. You think saving, but really you're just sitting. And in real estate, I'm not gonna lie, sitting is expensive. So if you're tired of wondering if something is a good buy, tired of scrolling on Redfin and Zillow without a plan, tired of being stuck in rent cycles that don't benefit you long term, then it's time to move different. Because this is what I do. I don't help you just buy a house. I also help you build a foundation. I help you understand the market, spot value before the crowd does, know which areas are up next, learn how to use real estate to set up your, wealth for the next 5 to 10 years. You don't got to do it alone. DM me ready and I'll give you the game that changes how you look at buying forever. Whether you're looking to buy in Houston or just need some knowledge, I got you covered. I'll show you how to stop guessing and start moving with power. You ready or not?
So I recently bought, built, and moved into my first house, and many of you ask, Andrea, how did you do it? Well, I'll tell you, and let this be a very transparent and honest video. First, I moved to Texas. That does a lot for changing the stakes of affordability for buying a house. Some of you might have seen, I have a series actually where I talk about how I've been able to double my income and change my life within a year. I actually went to UCLA, so I was living in Los Angeles for 10 years, and then I decided to move to Texas, literally to buy a house. The California real estate market is very expensive, so the barrier to entry here is just a little bit easier. But yeah, basically I moved somewhere where I could afford to buy a house. My goal is to move back to California and get a house there someday. But this is kind of like the first step and first property in my eventual real estate portfolio. Second, I have a partner that I bought this house with. Unfortunately, this economy is just really mean to single people because everything is so expensive. So having someone to split the financial burden with makes this all a lot more doable. But as an individual, I did as much as possible to prepare myself for buying this house. I work a full-time job. I have a great job. And I also have content creation as a secondary source of income. So basically I have 2 incomes, one of which I'm able to completely set aside. Also, I have a high yield savings account. My man and I actually have a joint high yield savings account that we started when we were living in LA. We decided on a weekly contribution to the high yield savings account, and this helped us with our down payment. All of my secondary income from content creation is also in a high yield savings account, which means that it is accruing interest monthly just by sitting there. And I'll put just a little bit more emphasis on this. I don't touch that high yield savings account money. I don't consider it an income source that I can really touch. It's literally just sitting there accruing interest so that I can use it for larger investments like this. That's really it. There's not any real special secret sauce to this, but if you have any more appropriate questions, let me know. Bye.
I bought my first house at 25 and I did not plan to purchase it at all, but if I could go back, here are 3 things that I wish I would have known prior to purchasing it. Hey y'all, it's Jamie, your fave homegirl, and welcome to my Real Talks with Jamie series. The first thing I wish I knew is that my monthly mortgage payment could go up. I didn't really understand what that meant. When I originally signed my closing documents, my mortgage was $1,501. After my first year, due to property tax increases and home insurance going up, my mortgage went up to around $1,560. It wasn't a significant increase, but because that happened to me, it's something I make sure all of my buyers know when we are going through the home buying process. Number 2, I did not quite understand that when I make my monthly mortgage payment each month, that I was also paying for my insurance and my property taxes, but it was going into an escrow account and the lender would pay those on my behalf when they were due. So the first year I got a bill in the mail for my property taxes that was $3,000 plus, and I freaked out because I did not know what it was. I knew I didn't have $3,000 to give, but I had already been paying it over the course of that first year. And lastly, the process moved very quickly for me. I didn't go into it thinking I wanted to buy a house. I really just wanted to learn more. But when I got pre-approved, the interest rates were so low, I qualified for a 100% financing option, and I was able to get new construction that I only had to come out of pocket $900. So why not move forward with buying my home? So I make sure that all of my buyers know your monthly payment can go up, your insurance and your property taxes are likely held in escrow by lender, and that the process can move quickly.
Big banks don't want you to know this trick because it could cost them over $100,000 in interest payments from you. If you have a 30-year fixed mortgage, grab your statement now, find your principal and interest payment, ignore the taxes, insurance, and PMI. Here's the magic formula. Take that P&I number and divide it by 5. Let's say your principal and interest is $1,800 per month. Divide by 5, that's just $360. Now, here's what you do. Make that extra $360 as an extra principal only payment every month. Make sure it's marked principal only, or the bank might apply it wrong. This one simple move cuts 10 years off your mortgage without refinancing, without qualifying again, without paying closing costs. On a $300,000 loan, this saves you approximately $133,000 in interest over the life of the loan. Most loan officers will never tell you about this because they only make money when you refinance with them, not when you pay off early for free. Follow me for more mortgage strategies that no one talks about.